Hello and welcome to my show. This is Jim Secrets, the Allover podcast, and tonight I have Amber Dawn Fox with me. She's been in The Walking Dead. She played Officer Bello. She's been in The Haunting of Four Points, Beast of the Field, and Tarnished Notes. Hello, Amber. How are you today?
I'm doing very good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, awesome. Hey, I just saw some of the stuff you've been in, and I'm a big Walking Dead fan. So, how did you get
Oh, yeah.
started with The Walking Dead?
Okay, so when I started in the industry back in 2009, I started as a background extra, and I worked on different shows like One Tree Hill, Under the Dome, Dumb and Dumber 2, Vampire Diaries, the originals, and eventually I worked with the same casting company that also cast for The Walking Dead. And so I had submitted to them for a movie they were doing at the time, and I got a text a couple of weeks later, and they said, we got your submission for the movie that we're doing, but you fit perfectly for this featured cop role we need for Walking Dead. Would you like to be considered? And we'll put your picture in, and the director's going to pick who he wants. So, of course, I jumped at that. I was a big Walking Dead fan myself. I had been watching from day one. And so, I said yes, and then I just had to wait for the director to make his selection, and that's kind of how I got involved with The Walking Dead.
Wow, that's great. I mean, to be on The Walking Dead is really awesome. you know, and you did a good role in that. And a lot of people thought that you were the one that got shot. Is that right?
Yes. They it was really funny because after the episodes aired, and of course the big episode with Beth, because I did too, but the Beth scene was the second episode I did. After that aired, and I started getting invited to be a guest at Comic-Con, I started getting all this hate mail in the mail, and I started getting people to walk up to me at Comic-Cons and tell me, why did you shoot Beth? And I was like, that wasn't me. That was the other brown-haired cop.
Mm-hmm.
so, so
Yeah.
they did confuse the two characters. I was just there. I wasn't the one that actually pulled the trigger, though.
Yeah. That was. And I even thought that too at first. And it was when you started doing your Q&A questions and things like that that you did on Facebook Live and all was really fun to get a
Right.
chance to listen to what your how you got started with The Walking Dead. And it was, how was like, so did you get a chance? How was Andrew Lincoln? I know people ask you probably that. How did you like working with Andrew Lincoln?
Oh, I absolutely loved working with Andrew Lincoln. So one of the things about going into a new set, especially with a cast that had been together for 5 years by that point, and everybody knew everybody, and you're coming in the first day, and on top of that, I was what's considered a featured extra, and one of the rules in the industry when you're a background extra is you're not supposed to talk to the main cast unless they talk to you first because they need to, concentrate on their characters and stuff. So I'm going in, minding my own business, talking to the PAs and the other extra cops and stuff. And Andrew walks in with some of the other cast members, and he immediately walks over and introduces himself to me and asks how I'm doing and does the same thing to everybody working that day. He's a super down-to-earth, really nice guy.
Yeah. I even miss him now, even that they're not having him on anymore. For a while, I didn't like him as much because I like bad characters. Um,
Right.
but I
I
really
understand.
do, I really do miss him on this
Yeah,
show.
it's a lot different without him there.
Yeah. So did you also meet Norman?
I did meet Norman. He's a trip. He's just like everybody sees in all the behind the scenes videos. He was walking around taking selfies and all that kind of good stuff. He was super fun to be around too. We were really, I have to say, Walking Dead was one of the, it's been obviously one of the biggest projects I've been a part of, but everybody on that set from cast to crew was so nice and so down to earth. I don't think I honestly met one person that was not nice.
Yeah, they seem like it. They really do. When the part I really enjoyed was when they did the war with Negan and all the taggers and everything was involved and everything. I was like, man, I wish I was there. It just seems like, as back in the day, I used to play war, and it was so fun. It's like, man, these guys
Right.
are just playing war in a way. It just
Pretty much.
looks so fun to just would want to. I just wanted to just be a part of that. Just it would look so awesome, and that's what's great, to do something, to be a part of that big community of The Walking Dead. It never gets old talking about, you know.
Oh
Um,
no, no, it doesn't. And I mean, everybody going in, it is. I mean, acting is kind of we go and play every day, like you said, with playing war and all that. So I feel like that's probably how they felt doing that.
hmm
It probably brought them back to their childhood, playing cops and robbers and war and all that kind of good stuff.
yeah.
But I feel the same way every day. I go to work to a different set. I'm just playing and playing pretend, basically.
When you were Doctor, oh great, Officer Bello, uh, did you get a chance to, like, did they help you with being a cop? Did you get any kind of experience, like on the side, or show you, different things about being a cop?
Surprisingly enough, they didn't. A lot of times in movies and stuff, when they want someone to play a cop, they either want them to have some type of experience or have done it before.
hmm
And the funny thing about Walking Dead was when I originally got cast, they didn't give me any kind of weapon training because I wasn't supposed to, handle my weapon at all. But somewhere along the line, that's the one thing about movie industries as well is things change on the spot a
hmm
lot. So they decided, of course, in the Big Beth scene, they had us all draw out our gun. That was the first time I've ever held a weapon in my entire life was on the set of Walking Dead.
hmm And
So
yeah,
yeah, they kind of, they would tell you if you were doing it wrong and gave us a little guidance, but there was no official training or anything like that.
I see. Uh, I was just curious, and that was such a sad part too. I mean, I really liked Beth. I know a lot of people didn't really like Beth that much, but I did. I thought
Right, I
she
did
really
too.
had a good, she was a good character, really good character,
It
and
was a big shock because I feel like her character was starting to develop so much, and then right as that was happening, okay, she died.
yeah, it was. Yeah, that, and I really, I read all the. Have you read all the comics? Have you read all the comics as well?
I have not read all of them, no. I have read some.
Okay, right now I'm just waiting for the other compendium to be released, so I can't wait to watch
Right.
to read that. I watch read the compendiums, and they're fun to really
Okay.
read. So then I don't have to worry about waiting for, how do you say, the comic book to come out. I just,
Right, right.
get the big Bible, so to speak, of stories in one.
Yeah, and you're not the first person I've heard that. A lot of fans have told me the same thing, that they prefer doing it that way as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting because what I like is I'll watch it, and then what I'll do is, see how close it comes and how close it doesn't
Hmm.
come to the comics, which is fine.
Right.
I know people, prefer, oh, the comics are so much better, and they're good too. But it's fun how they, switch things up, change different
Right.
tweaks here and there, only because of
Yeah.
people knowing the comics. When I first started watching The Walking Dead, it was when I actually didn't really like it that much. I wasn't really into it, and then I was at work, and there was a marathon, and all of a sudden I just really got into it. I really love getting into characters, and it seems like they drew you in,
Oh, yeah,
from the
exactly.
beginning.
That's what happened to me. My husband told me there was this new zombie show, and I said, zombie show? I don't need to watch that, I can
Mhm.
handle a movie, but a whole TV show? And then he was like, no, it's not supposed to be about the zombies. So, we went through and started watching it, and that's what drew me in was the characters.
Mhm. Did you get to meet Greg Nicotero?
I did not. Unfortunately, he was not working on the two episodes that I was in.
Oh, just wondering. After I found
Yeah,
out,
I have seen him at Walker Stalker. I did go to Walker Stalker about 3 or 4 months before I got the phone call about Walking Dead. Actually, I had went as a fan to the Chicago Walker Stalker, so I did meet him briefly there.
uh after I found out a little bit about him, and that he was from Pittsburgh. I'm not too far from Pittsburgh, and he also he worked on the Night of the Living Dead and the other movies zombie
Right.
movies from Pittsburgh. It was like awesome. I was like, man, I hope someday I get a chance to interview him and talk to him because he seems like a really cool guy as far
Oh
as
yeah, he is
that.
so good at what he does.
Yeah. Have you watched any of them? Have you watched the Night of the Living
Yeah,
Dead? And
yes, I have.
it's awesome. Yeah, it's cool even to go to the mall here because you're like, man, this was in the movie, and some of it
Right.
still, was some of it still is there, but it
Oh,
has
nice.
changed a good bit. I don't think some of the
Yeah, that was
places are
that was a
there.
while ago. So
Yeah, yeah, but it's really cool to to be someplace like that. Um, so let's move on. Let's see. So you were also in The Haunting of Four Points, which is a really cool movie, and it is streaming on Amazon Prime.
right.
How did you get that? How did you land that role?
Okay, so the Haunting of Four Points is actually kind of like a sequel to a short film that we did here in North Carolina called Levon.
Okay.
And my character had one small scene in Levon, which that one was just released on YouTube. It didn't make it to Amazon Prime. But when the director and writer Joey Martin decided to come back, he wanted to make an anthology of films. So what he decided to do is he was going to take one character from Levon and base the next movie around that character. And so he approached me shortly after we finished filming Levon and told me his idea and that he wanted to take my character who was in the first movie. Her name was Sarah. She ends up changing her name or going by her middle name in the second movie, which was Evie.
Hmm.
But you can watch Haunting of Four Points without actually having watched Levon. You can do it either way, but there will be a few things in there that are kind of like Easter eggs. Um, and that's kind of how the idea came up. And then, of course, I had to wait for him to write it. And then we went and filmed it over 2 summers. And it's such a fun movie. It's a horror comedy, and it's just crazy. I love horror, and I love comedy. So when he told me it was going to be a little bit of both, I was so excited. Because that was kind of the first little dip of comedy I've done. So
How did you like the leading role? Because you basically was the main character in this movie.
right. So when he approached me about the idea and told me, that the movie was going to be based around my character, I was really excited because up till that point, I had done, background extra work. I had done some short films and had some speaking roles and some student films and short films, and of course had done the featured role in Walking Dead. But Haunting of Four Points was kind of my first big lead role. So at first I was nervous because, of course, there was a lot of dialogue when you're the lead character. But it was so much fun, um, and the other actors, and it made it so easy for me because they were all great as well. And
Yes.
I think it'll be one of those movies that I'll never forget because it was a lot of firsts for me. So,
Well, you really I want to say you nailed it. You really did a good job
well,
on
thank
that
you.
movie. Um, let's see, um, because for one thing, I mean, it was neat to see you do that. Did you get a chance to like tweak a little bit, like do a little ad libbing, or did you actually have to go use the roles that the words that you were had to say?
Right. It was mostly by the script, but there was a few on the spot things we added at the last minute when we were on set. It was a little bit of ad libbing with a little bit of like direction from the director.
I,
He came up with most of the funny things. He was great. He was the director and the writer, and the script was just hilarious to me.
now you had to sort of, how do I say it? You had to sort of dance. Did you come up with that, or did he?
That was him. A little bit of it was ad lib, but it was mostly him telling me, this is my vision. This is what I see. Yeah, that will probably go down as one of the most interesting scenes with that little montage. We can talk a little bit about it because it's
Uh-huh.
there in some of the trailer.
Yeah.
But it consisted of me dancing with myself, me kissing myself,
Yeah.
and just these crazy hand movements and just exaggerated acting, kind of, because in film acting, it's more like subtle than theater, where you act bigger. But that was very, very big, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was, and I was thinking about that when as I watched it. I was like, I wonder if she came up with that, or how did she come up with this choreography of this little
No,
thing
yeah,
she
he
did.
pretty much came up with the choreography. I laughed my way through it. That was probably one of the harder scenes to get through, even though I'd not actually saying any lines at that point, just because it was hard for me to do with a straight face.
And I want people to know when they do watch The Haunting of Four Points, make sure you keep watching because I thought there was something going on with my Amazon Prime. There's a scene where it's just black and you're like, what's going on? That's happened. That honestly, I used to get movies from my cable company, and that's done that a few times
Uh-huh.
where, and that's what I thought at first. I thought,
Right.
what is going on? So, guys, please make sure you keep watching. I just a heads up because it will freak you out. It did me, and I didn't watch it. I ended up watching something else. I thought, well, I'll watch see what happens, and then but I had to watch it so bad. So the next night I was
Right.
talking to my son and I said, let's play this again. Hopefully this will work this time. And I go, if it doesn't, I'm gonna make sure I get in contact with Amber. Maybe she could help me out somehow because I want to
Right.
watch this movie. I
Yeah.
really did. And
Yeah. I've had a few people tell me the same thing. And if you do watch the movie, there is a lot of black screen at the beginning, but you will hear sound. And your TV is not messed up, or your computer, or wherever you're watching it. It does make sense. I promise you, if you keep watching, that you will see how it goes along with the storyline.
and to tell you the truth, Amber, there was a scene in the movie that talks about hot dogs, and I actually had hot dogs today. To tell you the truth, to be real honest with you, I had hot dogs today, and
Now, were they hot dogs or were they sandwiches?
they were they were
That's the
I
coolest
actually
part about
made
it,
them.
seeing that movie.
I actually made them. They weren't artisans or anything like that. And I think I'm still kind of debating about the sandwich. Are they a sandwich or are they just hot dogs?
Right.
I
I
think
mean, if you watch The Haunting of 4 Points, you'll never look at a hot dog the same way. I promise.
exactly. And I think to tell you the truth, they're not sandwiches. They are hot dogs, and sandwiches are sandwiches. I agree with you totally. He should have
Thank
never
you.
done that. I was like, what?
Exactly.
But it was awesome. And even the foreshadowing of one of the characters was really cool. I'm like, oh, okay, check this out. That's neat. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was funny, and I thought, what's going to happen next? And the funnier parts yet was some of the death scenes were funny
Right.
because I was like, wow. But I'm so, how do you say it? I'm so what's the word? I'm so I'm so used to seeing that kind of stuff that I just laugh. I'm like, but it was
Right.
good. It
Exactly.
was good. It was really enjoyable. So, guys, go out and watch that movie if you guys got Amazon Prime because it's really cool. And I am so glad I do have Amazon Prime because I was able to watch another movie uh, that we're going to be talking about, not by the director and the writer of you're doing that you were in Beast of the Field, and
Hmm.
I got a chance to watch Chase Dudley's Payback, and that was a really good movie. So he also has Payback on the
Payday.
Payday. Yes. Oh,
Yes.
I get them confused. The
Yeah.
other that Payday is Payback is with Mel Gibson, but yeah,
Right.
Payday is a really good movie. So how did you land a job with the Beast of the Field with Chase?
Oh yeah. So let me think. Chase Dudley and I had been connected on Facebook for years, and we'd been following each other. And I was enjoying the stuff he was putting out, and he was enjoying the stuff I was putting out. And we had tried to get together for probably the past 2 to 3 years, but our schedules just kept conflicting with each other. And so I had auditioned for Beast of the Field when he was casting, and one thing led to another, and behind the scenes, it just didn't work out at first. And so, I moved on to other things, and he moved on in his pre-production stage. And then all of a sudden, right before filming started for him, both of our situations changed, and he called me up and said that, he was still looking for someone to play Clarissa in Beast of the Field. So I finally got a chance to do it because he loved my audition. It just didn't work out, with schedule-wise and stuff originally. Then things had changed. Beast of the Field was awesome. That has to be one of my favorite movies to work on. We filmed it on location in Kentucky, in the woods, in the pouring rain, for a week.
Ooh.
Which sounds horrible, but, so it's funny enough for me to say that I had a good time and that it was my favorite, but, I guess that's acting for you.
So did you, man, you wet a lot, I guess, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was wet, it was muddy, it was cold. The hurricane had followed me because we had a hurricane here in North Carolina right as I was leaving to go to Kentucky. And then, the first few days I was there, the weather was beautiful. And then we started filming, and it was like, hello, here's the rain. You can use this for your movie now.
Yeah, Chase was saying some stuff about that. It's been a while since I listened to that interview I had with Chase, to tell you the truth. But yeah, he was saying about that. But now, in this movie that you're in, The Beast of the Fields, are you going to be like almost a lead character or co?
Yes. So that one is also a lead character for me.
Oh.
It's Beast of the Field is based on two people, a couple, that kind of lead this expedition out to the woods, and they collect these people along the way. Then they go out to the woods, and it's just like this ragtag group of people who have no idea what they're doing. Although the two lead characters pretend they know what they're doing, and they're going to search for a Thunderbird,
yes,
a legendary Thunderbird, because they want to make this documentary and become famous.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Now that I know that you're going to be the lead character, I'm definitely going to try to get a chance to watch that one. Do you know when Beast of the Fields will be out? I didn't ask the Chase, and I haven't been.
Right. It does not have a release date yet, but he is aiming for the end of this year, so it should be out this year for sure.
Oh, that's great, because I've been waiting to see that movie. It seems like it's going to be good, and now that I know that you will be one of the lead characters, that's going to be awesome. So another lead role. Was it
Yes,
was it easier
absolutely.
was it easier this time?
I between The Haunting of 4 Points and Beast of the Field, I had done a lot more work. I think Beast of the Field was my next big lead role, but I had done a lot of, supporting roles in between. So I was a lot more confident and a lot more experienced going into Beast of the Field than I was Haunting of 4 Points. So it was easier in that aspect, but every character brings its own challenges, which is fun for me. This character I can't give too much away about my character, but
Right.
I'll just say it involves some stunt work on my part, which was the first for me. And it also required me to go deeper to one particular emotion
Okay.
than I had before. So without giving too much away, there was challenges, but it was definitely easier because I had more experience.
No, I was just curious. That's good then. And you're not going to be like playing the same type of role either. I would imagine. Is it more so you said it's more, is it more serious then, or is this movie, is it kind of like a serious type movie?
Yes. Okay, so yeah, Beast of the Field is definitely serious. It may have some small comedic moments, but all in all, it's a thriller horror all the way.
Okay. That's good. I mean, it'd be fun. I can't wait to see that movie, especially because I don't know. I want to see what the Thunderbird looks like, because we were talking about
Right.
the Thunderbird, so that's going to
That's
be.
what everybody wants to know, because the first trailer is already out, and after the first trailer came out, that's what everybody was saying, that they wanted to see what the Thunderbird looks like.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that Chase said there's a second trailer coming out soon. I don't know exactly when, but he said very soon there'll be a second trailer for it. So.
Oh, that's good. We'll be able to be able to check that out. Yeah, that's the only thing I was wondering about. That's the Thunderbird. We were talking about that in it. There was a sighting of one up here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some time ago. And that's why when he said that, I was like, Wow, I remember just reading not too long ago that there was a sighting of a thunderbird. But it was a while back, you know.
Yeah.
It was that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, no, that's what it's about. So we definitely got to see what this bird looks like, you know. But
You
yeah,
know, that might be one. I got a feeling that you might be something you have to wait for the movie to see. I don't know, unless you
yeah,
fix it in the second trailer.
yeah. So that'd be great. Do you know, like, okay, to go back, I sometimes hate to do this, but to go back to the
That's
haunting
okay.
of Four Points, do you
Uh-huh.
think that there will be another part, and would you be in it?
Um, I know that he originally was planning to do it as an anthology, so I believe he was thinking 4 films. I
Uh-huh.
don't know right now any status on what the next film's going to be about, or if I would be involved. If if I got invited back to be in the next one, I would absolutely jump at it. I loved his script. I loved working on that set. So you never know. But at this time, no, I'm not sure.
That would be interesting to say the least, because I don't want to say what happened to your character or anything, but that would be
Right.
interesting, huh? You know what I'm saying? That would
Mhm.
really be interesting to see that. Um,
But you never know.
you never know. And another thing, I know that a lot of people asked you this, but still, I wonder if they'll ever have Officer Bello and the guys do a spinoff series of The Walking Dead.
Right. Yeah, that's what everybody says because of the way the storyline went. We never really find out what happened to our little group that stayed at the hospital, the cops that were left over, and all that. Rick left, and the story moved on. So Officer Bella's still alive. I'm just putting that out there. I always put that out there.
Yeah,
She's still alive, so you never know if she could pop back up. And with
you
Walking Dead, you definitely never know.
you never
I mean, they
know.
did have Martinez.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, Martinez of all things. And that was the weird part too, because you never got a chance to even see too much of how he got to be mad at Rick and want to kill Rick for some reason.
Right.
And that really killed it for a lot of us because we sort of, all of us like to know what's going on, with
Exactly.
certain characters that are, that aren't there no more and they're still alive.
Mhm.
I was just curious about that. So, what are your other projects coming up? Can you give me a few things that you're working on?
Sure. So I took a little bit of time off after Beast of the Field because, after we finished filming that in September, so I took the holidays off to kind of spend with family and all that good stuff. And I'm just now getting back into auditioning and stuff, but I have been cast in a series which is filming over near Washington, D.C. called Rising to Power. And they've already completed their pilot episode and they had like a little local premiere. My character is going to be coming in to episode 2 when they start filming again, and I'm playing a character named Charity. And Rising to Power is kind of a drama series. It's based around 3 main characters, and you kind of go inside their heads and see what they believe power is and how they strive to get power. And I got a reoccurring role in that one. I play a coworker of one of the main characters, and you'll definitely see a lot of Charity as time goes on in that series. So I'm really excited to get started on working on that.
Huh.
And then, let's see, I've also been cast in a movie called Fruit of the Poisonous Tree, and I'll be playing a detective, which will be fun because that's going to be the first time I've kind of gotten back into that role since Officer Bello
Hmm.
being back in law enforcement. So I'm looking forward to that. That's filming in Arizona.
Wow. So you'll be out there. That gets hot out there. I know how it is in Atlanta, so it's probably going to be the same, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Very hot.
It's funny the different places I've gotten to go now with acting and stuff. I started out just doing local stuff or going down to Georgia because I'm in North Carolina, but it's kind of expanded. I started doing Comic Cons, and now I'm getting roles in movies that are out of state, like Beast of the Field was Kentucky. Getting ready to work in Washington D.C., Arizona, so it's really crazy. I also have one other film that I am doing here locally in North Carolina called Jailhouse Wedding, which is a complete comedy.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So what do
Yeah,
you?
we just started that one. It's I play the mother of the bride, and it's kind of this crazy story about how our daughter and her boyfriend decide they have to get married, but they don't want to have a wedding, so they go to do it at the courthouse, and then all these crazy adventures and hijinks happen at the courthouse, and it's just a funny movie.
And will that be out on Prime?
Possibly. I don't know. You know, sometimes when we film indie stuff like that, you have to wait to sell it until after it's all filmed and edited and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it'll be out on Prime, but as soon as I know, I'll post. But we just started filming it, so.
That's good. So I'll ask you a question. I usually ask people this question: who is your biggest influence as far as like acting? You know, who do you look up to?
Oh gosh, I've been really lucky to work with the people I have. I don't have one person that I really look up to. My thing is I feel really blessed when I get to work on a set with anyone who's been in the industry, longer than I have, because I love looking up to people and learning from everyone that's in this industry. Like when I worked on Walking Dead, for example, I've spent probably just as much time acting as I did watching the other actors when I wasn't acting, to try to learn from them. So pretty much, I'd say any professional actor or actress that's been in the industry and had a successful career is my inspiration.
I see. That's a good answer. Really good. So
Thank you.
I know that you said, so did you get to have any experience besides that when you were younger? As far as, like plays or stuff? Or did you go to any acting school?
I did a couple of little plays when I was in school, nothing major. Funny thing, I didn't know I wanted to be an actor until I was probably in my 20s. I should have realized, like looking back now, it's one of those things that I realized I should have noticed when I was younger. I was completely shy in school, but we would have talent shows and I would just get up there and open up. And my cousin and my brother and we used to play with a video camera, my uncle's video camera back in the day, and we would film fake TV shows and commercials and stuff. And whenever it was my turn to be behind the camera, I always complained because I always wanted to be the person acting in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. And we would play cops and everything else. And that was one of my favorite memories growing up. So, but then, of course, life happened. And when it was time to go to college, well, what are you good at? Math. Okay, so I went and became an accountant. And I was actually working as an accountant right before I got the job on Walking Dead.
Wow, that's neat.
So, yeah, I was a little late to figuring out what I wanted to do with life.
So, one good thing, you can still do your taxes, right? Maybe you can, do you do
true.
taxes for, you should do some taxes for some of the other actors and stuff. Maybe they would, they would enjoy it. He's doing.
They might enjoy it. I might not. That was one thing. I was good at math and good at accounting, but I absolutely hated it once I got into the industry and working.
Yeah, I know.
And then I started doing the acting thing on the side, like, on my vacations and when I had time off, and fell in love with that. And that's kind of how that whole thing started.
Yeah, and you don't really need that. You're really going to be in so much more things as as things goes on. In your career, as far as that, I can see that. I can see that you'll have so much more success as
thank you.
It goes on. And hopefully being in on my podcast, that it'll help you maybe get luckier, landing some more roles.
I appreciate you having me on too.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on, because I know you are so busy with so much things and all, and so I really appreciate it. Can I one more question?
Sure.
Now since you're an doing a lot of acting and stuff, do you see yourself directing or behind the camera?
I get asked this a lot. In the future, yes. Right now, no. And I think the reason for that is I've worked the last almost 5 years now toward my acting, and I feel like, especially this year, starting in January, it's like taken off. Like my phone is always buzzing and everything. So I'm really, really enjoying doing the acting thing right now and being successful at it. But, 10 years down the road from now, I could see myself doing other things in the industry. I think the first thing I would probably dip my toes in would be writing and seeing if I could, write a film. because when I was younger, I always enjoyed, writing short stories and little fictions. So I
Hmm.
can see myself doing that first after acting.
Wow, that's good. That's good. I was just curious. I sometimes
Yeah.
like to ask them kind of questions because since a lot of actors go on to doing other things after a while, and I was just sort of curious about that. What about your family? Do you see any of your kids becoming doing what you do?
You never know. Actually, all three of my children did work with me on Under the Dome.
Oh,
We were we played townspeople in the end of season 2 of Under the Dome, so they got the experience of going on set and being around that. Now, my youngest at the time was only a toddler, so she probably doesn't remember it, but the older two do.
hmm.
My oldest is my son. He's 14 now, and I think out of all three of them, he's the one that has the most interest in it. He's done a couple of featured roles in some of the local indie productions that I've been in. But my middle daughter, she lost interest in it. She's more of like the quiet artist type, so she kind of shied away from the camera after a while.
Yeah, I was just curious. I knew you had a family. You had some family. I was just curious about that. If since they see what mom's doing, I wonder if I can do what mom does. But that's
Right,
nice that
right.
they were in Under the Dome. That was such a good movie. I mean, not a good movie, a good series on TV. I watched it, and surprisingly, hopefully I'll watch it. Hopefully they'll have it on somewhere again, because then I'll
Yeah.
try to see where you're at. I didn't even know you played in that. To tell you the truth, but yeah, that was a really.
Yeah, we just played extra. That was back when I was doing extra work, and we were playing townspeople. If
Hmm.
anybody's seen Under the Dome at the end of season 2, there's that big hole that everybody's standing around because they're all going to climb in the hole to get away from the shrinking dome
Uh-huh.
or collapsing dome, whatever it was. And so it's that scene, and if you see a little tiny baby, that's my daughter, and my other kids are standing right there, and we were right near the actors, so we were kind of playing like a featured family, but we didn't have any lines or anything like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's when you do extra work and stuff. A lot of times people don't. It just seems like they don't. When you're watching a movie, a lot of times you don't really pay attention to the extras, but they mean a lot to people. They mean a
Oh
lot to
yeah,
the movie, but you don't. And what it's good that they that you're doing so much other things, and I'm so happy that you're on my show, and I
well
really
thank you.
appreciate it. And thank you so much, Amber, for coming on the All Over podcast with Jim Seacrest. Please check out the movies that she's been in. As far as the Beasts of the Field will be coming out eventually, and The Haunting of Four Points is on Amazon. And I didn't get a chance to talk to you about the let's see, what was that again? The Tarnished Notes. What was how was that?
Oh, so Tarnished Notes was another one that was filmed here in North Carolina. It's a movie based on a true story that happened here about a murder, and I played one of the church friends of the lead character, and that movie is available on iTunes and Google Play.
Okay, okay, awesome. So check out her movies. We'll post some of her stuff on our YouTube channel, and so and I can't wait to see some of the things that you're going to be doing next. What it was the new movie that the movie that you're starting, the Power Rise of Power, is that it?
Rising to Power, yeah,
Rising to
that one's a
Power.
series.
Okay.
That one's a series, so we'll see what happens after we finish filming it. They're going to try to sell it around and see where it ends up on.
Okay. So we'll be looking for that as well. And so, like I said, check out the things that Amber's been doing. If you guys are not Walking Dead fans, please be Walking Dead fans and check out Officer Bello. What season is that? Because I'm I
There's
haven't
been
watched.
so many now.
Yeah, yeah.
It was season 5, and the hospital arc in season 5 is at the first half of season 5, and Officer Bello appears in episode 4 and episode 8 of season 5.
Okay, so check them out. And this is Jim Seacrest, the All Over podcast, and have a good night.